want to learn how George Benson plays these fast arpeggio ideas, something like this, then you're going to want to stick around to the end of this lesson because I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. Now, let me show you a few of these ideas and then we'll get into how to apply it to your playing. So the first idea sounds like this. And then the second idea. And then finally, the third idea. So did you catch what all three of these ideas had in common? Well, it's something I'm calling the sweep and slide arpeggio shape. And very, very simply, we'll look at this first example. It's taking an arpeggio that has a sweep. We're sweeping down. And then that last note, we slide down a half step. Now, Benson does this in so many solos. And I was transcribing a bunch of them recently for this master study series I'm doing on George Benson. More on that in Chase the Guitar Academy. And I came to realize on a bunch of these chords, whether it's a dominant 7, minor 7, all kinds of different chords, minor 7 flat 5, Benson is consistently using this shape to play fast ideas. And it works so well. Once I started applying it, it was very, very simple to add into my playing. So we take that arpeggio. In this case, we're doing it as if it's G7 flat 9, G7 altered, and we're going to start on that B as if it's a diminished arpeggio. B, D, F, A flat, and then slide. So all of these are notes in G7 flat 9. Right? Sweep and slide. That's the idea. And as you saw from the three ideas at the beginning, Benson's using this over different types of chord changes, right? Let's take a look at this one over G7 altered and see how versatile it is. Well, because it's a diminished arpeggios, you can move in minor thirds and all the notes remain the same. We could move it from B to starting on A flat. We could move it down again to F. Or we could go up, the last one we didn't do, up to D. So just right there, just with the one shape. Right, I'm doing some of them with a triplet, some of them you do with eighth notes. It's going to depend on what else you're improvising. But all of those work for G7. If you stick around to the end, I'll show you ways that we can finish those ideas into some very interesting lines. But let's move on to another chord type now. So you can see that this works not just on diminished chords or dominant 7 flat 9 chords, but on any chord type we can apply it. So let's take that third example that I was showing you from Benson, and we'll do this as if it's F minor. And let's do it as if it's a 2-5 going to E flat. So F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat. So we have this pivot, A flat to C. There's our sweep, and then we're going to slide down. One way Benson loves to get out of this idea is then on the next string, you do 4 consecutive chromatic notes. And that is great resolution to E flat major. Right? And it sounds cool, and it's very simple to play fast as well because the picking is very smooth. The sweeps and the even amount of notes per string keep everything very comfortable for the right hand. So we can take that same idea, sweep and slide, and try to find other places where we can apply it. Another place that we apply it where it's a slightly different shape on the hand, the left hand, but still works as this sweep and slide concept is starting on the root of our minor chord. So we're starting on F. So we're going to start here. We're going to sweep from here like an A flat triad and then slide down to D. And we're still going to keep that 4 notes chromatically going down after that. And now we end on the 5th of the E flat. You've heard Benson do that a million times. It also works to slide in with your pinky to that F, if you want to add some attitude to it. So we have that one, and that one. What if we didn't want to do this pivot arpeggio thing? Can we still make this idea work? Well, we can. Instead of starting on the F up high and then pivoting, we can actually just start as if it's this beginning of an F minor 7 arpeggio. So we start here and then slide. I'm not using my pinky when I'm doing it in that kind of shape. I'm stretching my ring finger, shifting, and then reaching. You could bring your pinky back in if it's comfortable. The reason for that is if we use the pinky, we would probably slide with this finger, the middle finger, and then it is a little bit harder to reach, but you want to slide with the index finger, and then it's much easier to reach to do that. So we have that shape here, and then that F is also up here. There you can use the pinky, it's actually more comfortable because the string set changes. Okay, so that's also over a 2-5, a short 2-5. What about if we're just on a major chord? How can we make this work? Well, one way is to translate that major chord into its relative minor. So if we're thinking E flat major, we could instead think C minor. And so we had those same arpeggios we were looking at, the same ones we just did, but let's apply them now over E flat major or C minor. So the first one we did starting on the third, now that third of C minor is going to be E flat, or the root of our major chord. So we have this. We have to change that ending though, right? If we went all the way down, it could work if we want E flat major 7 sharp 11 sound. You might want that, but just realize on any of these licks, and any lick you're learning in general, that last little bit where you're actually going to resolve, that last final note, you need to decide how to adjust the lick and get comfortable doing that so that you can change the resolution. So here, I'm going to change the order of those last 4 notes to enclose B flat, so I can end on the 5th. So the other shape we had starts on C, which is the root of our minor chord. And now if we went straight down, we would end on F, which could be nice as the 9th. But let's say we want to end on a chord tone. We're going to do another enclosure to end on G. So all I'm doing is on this last string, I know that I have a G there, which is the third of my E flat major, right? So it's very important to know your chord tones when you're playing over the harmony. And then finally, let's take that same idea but do it without the pivot. So we're going to start on the lower C. Then we also have it down here, as if it's that C minor. Okay, since you've been sticking around, now let's take that diminished arpeggio sweep and slide we did before and work that into a minor 2-5. And we could think about this as something you might use on something like Blue Bossa. That minor 2-5 to C minor. So we're going to approach this whole beginning part of the 2-5 as if it's already starting with the sweep and slide. And we can take that same approach of having 4 consecutively descending chromatic notes afterward. Sweep and slide, 4 consecutive chromatic. And then we end on the third of C minor, E flat. Okay, let's try that now starting on A flat. It actually still works because we're ending on the root C minor. Okay, so for that one and that one, it's the same. What about if we went down to F? Well, we'd end on A for C minor. I mean, it could work, but we do have an option here of sliding up D into E flat. So I'm just trying to find chord tones that I like. And then from there, doing this little Benson diminished pattern. I like this one a lot. Super smooth. For this last one, we'll start on D, and we'll treat this one like a D minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, since we're doing it like a minor 2-5. So D, F, A flat, C, instead of D, F, A flat, B. and then we'll slide C down into B. And then we want to end on the third of C minor, so we'll just do 2 notes per string. A flat G, F E flat. You see how that is, I know it sounds crazy because I'm just going from slow into fast, but it really does matter how you're playing these shapes and picking them to quickly unlock that speed. If I did this in the wrong way, it would be hard for me to do it fast. Because I'm doing it in this way that Benson's figured out, it instantly clicks doing it fast. Yes, some of that is the muscle memory and the experience I have, but most of that benefit is just from doing these things the right way with the right fingering. And there's a lot of wrong ways to do it on guitar. So all of these lines are actually coming from my Jazz Lines palette, which is a framework I got from this recent Corey Christensen masterclass we did inside Chase's Guitar Academy. And what I did is using his framework of identifying the 5 best lines for an artist for major, minor, dominant, long 2/5s, short 2/5s, long minor 2/5s, and short minor 2/5s, so 7 categories, times 5 licks each. We have 35 lines that really define any jazz artist playing. And just from this, you really get a great idea of how that artist is approaching jazz harmony. So I recently did this for George Benson, and you guys can access that now within Chase's Guitar Academy. If you're a fan of George Benson, I'm going to be adding a lot more in what I'm calling master studies, where we'll do deep dives on specific jazz artists. We're starting off with George Benson. We'll also do Wes Montgomery, Joe Pass, and many, many other artists, Grant Green probably. So if you're into George Benson, check out a 7-day free trial of Chase's Guitar Academy, and you can access and download that 35 best lines of Benson, that Jazz Lines palette within there. I also have this Blue Bossa solo study, which we'll play now. And that is really to give you a way of practicing these concepts. Listen for these sweep and slides. And by learning this solo study, you can also apply these ideas into actual jazz language. So if you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this one, hit like. Let me know in the comments as well. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And check out any of these other George Benson videos. I know you will dig them if you dug this lesson. And you stuck around this long, so chances are you did. All right, let's try out this Blue Bossa solo study.